Okay. Hallie, it says, how do I fight those subconscious doubts that God's going to get you? Girl or guy or whoever you are, I feel you.
It's Haley, sorry.
Haley, I'm sorry. You're on with Jenna and Phil. How are you doing?
Hi,
Doesn't
guys.
sound like you're doing too well.
I'm good. So a little history about myself. I was raised in full-blown independent fundamental Baptist Christianity. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this Steve Anderson, but
No.
I think I've heard his name lately.
His level of
he's pretty crazy.
His level of church, of like gay people should be killed by the government.
Yeah,
like,
I know who that is.
Okay.
There's no such thing as marital rape, like that kind of Christianity.
Okay.
I guess the purest form, quote unquote.
And
Right. The most conservative.
Yeah, you're working your way out of that.
So I guess I started having questions when I became a teenager, and like as a teen, you're taught like you're rebellious, you're this, you're that, like you're all these bad things, and I started to question like I'm not a bad person, and I started to like reflect on myself, like how am I, I'm not even doing anything. Like what is it about me that's bad? Because I literally don't have any like leeway to do anything, like listen to music, like watch movies, like I don't have any of that space. So why am I a bad person? And then I moved out of my parents' house and I like got on my own and I started like exploring the idea that what if Christianity is not it? And the further I explored it, the further I was like, oh, so I'm allowed to love my gay brother. I'm allowed to love my gay friends. Oh, like I'm allowed to have sex with people. You know what I mean? Just like,
we know what you mean.
Like normal life stuff.
Right.
And then like I officially within myself about 2 years ago was like, yeah, we're done here. Like we're not a Christian. I don't believe any of it.
Good for you.
But,
you said that was 2 years ago?
About 2 years ago. But growing up in church, they always told like stories to kind of scare you into still being a Christian of like a missionary who like wouldn't answer God's call to go to the mission field and, his child died or like his wife died. You know what I mean? And
it's
like,
hateful.
Like stuff to like scare you into staying a Christian. And so even though like I know in my heart and I know for a fact, like I don't believe these things, like what is like every once in a while, if I'm like on a plane or like I'm like walking across the street, I guess in my mind, like, and not all the time, but like rarely, it'll just pop into my head of like, this is the moment when the truck's going to come flying down the street and hit me because God's done.
Yeah.
And
I have
a
mental thought thing that maybe is helpful if I can try it.
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point in your life you've seen an anthill and ants crawling around.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say at some point the ants decide to start worshiping you as a deity.
Mm-hmm.
How concerned would you be that an ant does the right thing or the wrong thing?
I literally couldn't give a shit.
Right. Okay. Now, there's a measurable difference between you and an ant. The theoretical God that you were taught, I'm assuming, was all-powerful, right? And so the difference between you and the deity that doesn't exist, but let's pretend for a moment he, she, it does, the difference is far more dramatic than the difference between you and an ant. This God couldn't give two shits about punishing you.
Don't we even
if
share
he existed.
like 90-something% of our DNA with the ants?
Yeah, right? So if you don't care what the ants are doing, what kind of sad, pathetic, weak deity must there be that he has to be concerned about?
Literally be worried about what every single person is thinking.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So you're left with two possible deities. One who is so powerful that you're meaningless to them and you don't need to worry. Two, a God that can be pissed off because you're not following him or her, and by definition then would be impotent to harm you. So you're covered either way. You're good.
Yeah. And I guess like my mentality at this point is if someone as fucked up and disgusting as like a pedophile youth pastor because, you know, I actually know a girl from a church who her youth pastor was a pedophile. You know, like if that guy can go to heaven because he's saved, but my brother's going to hell because he's gay, like I don't even want to, I wouldn't even want to follow you. Like, I'd be like, right, like, I have a King Fleet reservation in hell. Like, thank you. No, like.
That kind of thinking is what got me farther and farther away from Catholicism, because there were things that would come up like no sex before marriage, and I had sex before marriage, and I actually found out that was really good for me, because I otherwise would have married a certain guy and been with him forever in this religious town, and I would have had to spend my entire life with him if I hadn't slept with him first. And so after that relationship, I was like, yep, sleeping with all of them first, got to screen them all. So, So that kind of thing got me like, you know what? Don't like that religion. Let's find a different one.
You basically decided to not buy the pig because you got to try the sausage.
Exactly.
yeah. And like my older sister has recently come out of Christianity, and she's also atheist now.
Good for her.
And like it causes it, you know, she's getting a divorce, and like her husband is like super culty Christian. And it's like for her, she's realizing like what I wanted to tell her, but also because we love our Christian friends and family, even when they don't want to listen to us. Like, I'm like, okay, now do you see like how ridiculous this is?
They don't yet.
Like, now that you're not part of the team, do you see how, how bad you are?
And all these other people, like, they're not bad. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
They're just wrong.
Right.
And it's okay to be wrong. I'm wrong about stuff all the time. Yeah.
Right.
And that's the frustrating part, is like having to lose those relationships and lose that like community, but also like learning how to like build an actual community. So it's more just like learning how to like reprogram yourself.
Yeah.
Dude, you keep bringing up like all of these different things that could send me down a rabbit hole. I'm like, oh yeah, that's harmful. That's harmful. That's, oh my God, I could get into hours talking to you, Hallie. But just to kind of bring it down to what you called about was trying to fight your subconscious feeling that God's out to get you. Can I offer you some advice just from my own personal experience with trauma and retraining my subconscious? Is one thing that I learned, and by the way, if I'm wrong about anything, you will find it in the comments. Look it up if you think I'm wrong about something. But I've done a lot of research on my own about this from many different sources. And one thing that I've discovered is that the subconscious controls most of what we do, and the subconscious learns things by repetition alone. It doesn't matter if it's good for you or not. It learns things that this is what we do, and so we do it again, and we do it again, and we do it again. Like you had to learn to eat. You had to learn to walk. You had all that. And so when you're taught over and over and over and over and over again, you're bad at this, you're bad at that, you're bad at that, you're bad at that. There's this thing, subconscious part of your brain that's like, oh, wait, we got to constantly be aware of whether or not we're being bad, right? So we're afraid, right? So we're constantly on high alert. It puts our amygdala in full effect, and our nervous system is awake, and we are on fight or flight all the time. We're like, okay, you know, we got this constant radar trying to figure out what's good and bad, and that hurts us. So what we have to do when we figure out that's a harmful system that we've got going on in our head is we have to spend as much, if not, maybe not as much, probably different for different people, but we have to spend time telling our subconscious the opposite. So anytime you have that thought, oh my God, I'm bad. If you know what? I am not bad if I do that. Catch yourself and tell yourself good things. Tell yourself, I was wrong. It's okay. I understand why you thought that. You were told that by a lot of people, but we know better now. We're good, right? Yeah. And so you just have to do that over and over and over again.
It may take years and years.
Yeah.
But it gets better and better.
Well, yeah.
You're on the right path.
Even just like my self-image compared to when I last believed in Christianity has changed so much, like my self-worth, everything.
You're not a sinner.
You're not you're not broken.
I'm not a piece of shit person.
That's right.
You're not a sheep.
You know?
Guess what? We're people.
I'm not bad because I was born.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's like, that is helpful. It's just like reminding myself, you know, when that moment happens of like, yeah, but you know what? He's not real, so we
yeah. Well, I am just so happy to hear your journey and your story, and I am happy for you.
Yeah, I hope you call back because, again, we could talk about a lot of that stuff. So even if you don't call back, email us. I'm sure you'll get some conversations going. Check out the Discord server, Facebook groups. We've got all kinds of stuff going on for the ACA where you can keep talking to people. And so you might find some people that relate to you. Actually, you will find some people that relate to you. But thanks for calling, Hallie.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
Bye-bye.
guys. Have a nice day.